Wow, that's hot. A little bit of tea to start this show. Let's see, it's herbal tea. Herb makes it himself. And lemon and ginger. Oh, I see I have an extra audio check happening here. I don't think you guys heard any of that. Good morning, it's 9 o'clock, December 20th, 2023. And this is a day of the week that ends with a Y. Oh, it's Wednesday. Okay, I could have guessed that. Maybe. I have StreamerBot and SpeakerBot open, but I didn't test them, so I don't know if they're automatically working. Let's see, what do I got? Oh, yes, I got a couple of emails I flagged for today. The first one is an Amazon gift card from some dude named Ken Stout Live with the Zoom homies with Ken Stout Live. It's a long, long name. I haven't figured out which is first name or last name. No, you didn't hear that. I had that audio muted. So Selden Ball, try that again. And it did work. It did work. It came through here, but I had internal audio muted, so you guys didn't hear it. So anyway, thank you, Ken Stout, for the amazing, Amazoning. How do you pronounce that? Amazing Amazoning gift card, whatever it is. Then, here we go.
Selden Ball said, is this automatically working?
Yes, it's working. Okay, now what if I try pausing it? If I pause this thing, let's come over here and see if I can see over here where, if I go to action cues, it is pause, no. Now I press the button on the Stream Deck and that should change to on, not that time, yes. Because the first time pressing that button kind of wakes up the Stream Deck and StreamerBot connection. So right now it's paused. And when I see another exclamation mark come up in chat, then I'll unpause it. I've got a email here from Chris Garrett, came in this morning, just checking to make sure it doesn't expose his email address. It does not. Zoom installer crashes. Hey, Doug. Hey, Doug. I cannot update Zoom. See, I can't tell what his emotional state or the tone of voice was behind that. Hey, Doug, I cannot update Zoom. It says the installer has stopped working. When he tries to do the update, I suppose. I have uninstalled and reinstalled. Uninstalling crashes also, so the uninstalling is not successful. Tried a force uninstall with Revo uninstaller. But did that work? You tried it. Trying it, did it succeed? Did it claim to have succeeded? Try to force uninstall with Revo uninstaller. It shows up in apps. Now I'm going to assume that means Zoom shows up in apps, not Revo uninstaller. It shows up in apps, but cannot open it from there. Any ideas? So at first he could not update Zoom. Now he can't open it at all. All right. Ideas. Use safe mode and uninstall from safe mode. Make sure that Revo uninstaller is getting rid of everything. Go look for some. I totally lost my train of thought because I saw exclamation marks in the chat. Look for some, other folders, configurations, subfolders anywhere. Tim Tech says the tech is at his house. He's getting new internet service, all of his own. Apparently, I'm going to unmute and see what comes through. Here we go. I just pressed the unmute
Selden Ball
button.
said, is this paused?
Yes, that was paused. Selden Ball asked that. The next one, there is no other one. Okay. If there were multiples, then they all would have come through one at a time, and I haven't found a way to make them come through one at a time. I did go on to a Discord channel that claims to help with this software, but I haven't checked on it yet today. Here we go. Nope, Ken Stout still doesn't come through. I don't get it. Try another one right away, Ken. Let's go look over here and see action history. No, not there. Check. Yeah, here, error speaking TTS. And did he do another one?
DDT 2005 said, "Hopefully I won't lose power today."
Oh, that's interesting. That audio came through to me before I saw Dennis's chat come up. He lost power twice during yesterday's stream. And here's Ken. He's going to take his ball again and leave. Look there. There's another error. It totally does not like...
Chris Garrett said, "A live Windows Training-DougBetts Zoom is not installed, but in apps and features it is there, but cannot open."
Okay, DougBetts Zoom is not installed. No, that's not DougBetts. Let's get over here to the chat window and look at it closer from there. Zoom is not installed, but in apps and features it is there, but cannot open. Okay, so that sounds like you have the Store app installed. If you go, let's see, let's do Windows key, apps and features. And that's not what I want to get. I want to get over to here, installed apps. These are apps. These are not installed programs. The things that show up here may not be showing up in this screen, programs and features, because they're different programs.
Chris Garrett said at LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, caramba.
Ay, caramba. All right, you're going on pause. Hang on a moment. Yeah, let's see. Then I'm going to go ahead and unpause that and hear this.
Brian Lightfoot said, "Ken Stout Live said, fine, I'm taking my ball and leaving."
Okay, I'm going to see if I can get through some more of Chris's. Zoom is not installed, but in apps and features it is there. So it's installed as an app, not installed as a program. So perhaps uninstall it as an app. Can you actually open it as an app? If you go to the Windows button, type Zoom. Here's the Zoom as an app. That's different than Zoom as a program. Now, if I come over here to program, do I have it installed both ways? Yes, I do. I have it installed also as a program. So there may be a conflict going there. Can you open it from the app? And maybe under different circumstances, have it uninstalled as a program and run it as an app, or even go to the website, because you can run Zoom from their website or
Chris Garrett said, "Live Windows Training DougBetts cannot open as app."
Cannot open as an app. Okay, how about uninstalling the app? And that would be right-click on Zoom from here and choose uninstall. Now, I didn't get to my other thoughts about that is go into Task Manager and disable all of your startup items. Take a photo of it first so that you know which ones are already disabled. So disable all the ones that you don't absolutely need running when you restart your computer, and try doing the Revo uninstaller and installing. That's going to help you determine whether there's something in the background causing the problem. Check Crystal Disk Info to see if your disk is okay. Because if you're having problems with your storage drive, that could be an issue too, but I suspect that's not the case. Dennis updated
Chris Garrett
Zoom
said at
without
Live
incident.
Windows Training DougBetts cannot uninstall from anywhere.
Cannot open as an app here. And let's see. Oh, I see. His other message came up, cannot uninstall from anywhere. So when you do Windows key Zoom and you see it as an app and right click, there's an uninstall option. Is the uninstall option there? When you click on it, is that when do you get an error message? Can you give me a screenshot of what happens then? Or use that screen recorder thing that we talked about yesterday from Windows and see if you can send me some video, or take video with a cell phone. Show me what's actually happening, because when you say cannot open as an app, yeah, but what's it doing? Is it not even there to click on? When you click on it, do you get an error message? How about in Task Manager? Control-Shift-Escape, Task Manager. Does anything show up when it's trying to launch? Again, going back to Task Manager and disabling all your startup apps, you can sort by startup status, by status, so that all the ones that you have disabled will show up together. Take a picture of those. All you need is the ones that are disabled before you go disable everything else. So then you go disable everything else, restart the computer, and see if you can make any headway. I don't think he said anything yet about error messages. And he said yes. Yes, what? I said too many things for you to say yes and think I don't know what you're saying yes to. Occasionally run into something like corrupted uninstall file, which I believe is like an attachment to the program. Yeah, but Revo uninstaller will get around that. So, but with Revo uninstaller, was it succeeding in its uninstallation, or did it crash? Because you said the uninstall doesn't work of the program, but how about with Revo uninstaller? Sometimes you just have to manually go through and try to find all the pieces to this program and delete it. Did I get everything from Chris? I'm going to go back through Control F and type Chris, and he retracted one, so I don't know what that was. Zoom is not installed as a program, but an apps and feature it is there. So it is installed, but it's installed as an app, not a program. Ay caramba. And what was next? Cannot open as an app, so the app fails to open. So I'm assuming that's after a fresh restart, but you haven't told us about a fresh restart with disabling all of your other startup items. Maybe something is conflicting. Excuse me. Cannot uninstall from anywhere, and then yes. Let's see, so that was right close. That's within a minute. So it must have been a question that I asked at that time. Yes. So that would have been about the time that I was asking about on the Zoom app. Right click. Is the uninstall option there? Is that what he said yes to? When you click uninstall, do you get an error message? Is that what the yes is to? I don't know. Need more info. Do you want to do a remote connection tomorrow? And we can have a look at it during this stream. That sounds interesting. I'd like to do that. Read that. Sometimes you have to go manually through trial a piece of the program deleted. Saw that. Revo uninstaller would do that. He's already tried that. You also might, let's see, that he's already tried that. That was in the email, wasn't it? Yeah.
Chris Garrett said, what is the difference app program? I tried both by program, if you mean the full offline installer.
She sounds angry. There's some attitude there. What is the difference app and program? I tried both by program, if you mean the full offline installer. Apps and programs are different animals. Think of an app on a cell phone as an app. Apps install from the Microsoft Store. So if you go to the Microsoft Store, you can install apps from here, and they will not show up in this programs and features list, because these are programs that are designed out of a different structure, that how they're programmed. Apps from the Microsoft Store are apps that run on top of the Microsoft, I'm going to say engines. I'm not good on the words here, but apps are different than programs. This is programs and features. In the Microsoft Store, we get apps. Think of them like cell phone apps. So in here, we can go to Zoom.
Chris Garrett said I get it, but it's still the same to me. Remember, I am from South Alabama.
You get it, but it's still the same to you. I don't know what you mean by saying it's the same. It's ways to run software on your computer, but they are structurally different. And when you uninstall Zoom here, that does not uninstall the app. So you have to go 2 different places to completely uninstall Zoom. I don't think they share any of the same programming structures or files. As far as ideas, other ideas, create a new user account and try installing it under a different user account. So that's going to eliminate all of the user-specific configurations you have on your computer. I suspect that'll have the same problem. What else has changed? When did it last work for you? What has changed since it was last working? The reason you uninstalled it was because the update would not work. Okay, check for other updates. Check for optional, not only Windows updates, but the optional updates. Yeah, I got a boo-boo on my finger. Get over it. Yeah, optional updates. There might be some optional updates that is going to fix this. Have you done any Google searching about it? Do I know yet if there's an actual error message? Let's go see what else is saying in chat. Where did you get the install file from? Zoom desktop client. That's a good point, because there are a lot of other, if you just do a Google search for Zoom installation and just click on whatever shows up, you might not be getting it from the real McCoy. You might not be getting the real McCoy from the appropriate source. So here's Zoom desktop client. You don't want plugin for Outlook. You don't want IBM Notes. You don't want mobile apps. Lots of different things. Zoom desktop client would be the one that you're looking for. I've also seen sometimes it come up as, let's see, well, with a different name. Zoom client for meetings, I think I've seen it named as. But this is a good place to get it. You would be wanting the 32-bit client. Do not get the ARM client. And that is different than getting the app through the Microsoft App Store. Assuming 64-bit Windows. Well, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. No, 64. I said that wrong. I didn't realize that here. This is the link. Click the download button for the 64-bit client. The 32-bit client is if you specifically want 32-bit. Yeah, I was thinking these were the only 2 choices, but no, the download button gets you the 64-bit client. Thank you for pointing that out, somebody. Oh, Wintermute did right here. Let's see, there's some more people. Ken Stout, Richard Rogers, Londog, yeah, Rick Lake said that sounds like there's corruption in the uninstall file. I think Reveal uses that file to start the process of an uninstallation. Yes, it does use that to start the process, but then it will go on beyond that. So it's not limited to the uninstall file, and that's specifically because sometimes there's corruption in uninstall files, and that's the really attractive thing of Revo, because it will go find all the other elements and folders and registry entries related to Zoom to get rid of them. I'm not sure how Revo goes about uninstalling. Yeah, it uses the uninstaller first, and I think it gives you the option to skip using the uninstaller. Love Revo uninstaller to also uninstall app, not only softwares. Yeah, you know what? I guess I couldn't have said that to know that it also uninstalls the Microsoft app, but it seems like it ought to. But Zavi right here is telling us that it does. Let's see, that came over, and LOL, I get it, but still the same to me. Remember from South Alabama. In Revo uninstaller, have Windows apps session. Let's see, Zavita Chris. In Revo, you have the Windows apps section. I'm guessing that this is, rather than session, it was probably section. It might be a different menu path in Revo uninstaller to uninstall the apps. I don't know. Uninstalling in safe mode, yep, that would be a reasonable thing to do. You might want to restart in safe mode with networking so that it can access the internet in case the uninstall needs that access to the internet to do that. Apps in Microsoft Store use a different programming structure. UWP. Yeah, UWP I think is the programming structure. Universal Windows Platform. There you go. And they've had a few names for this programming structure over the years. No to something, 64-bit. Yeah, that's when I was saying 32-bit. Yeah, I was wrong. The download button. Hello, Brian. Doug wonder if it's possible to reinstall the program from whatever source he got it, and maybe that's possible. It will correct the defects. Well, I think that's what we've been talking about. I don't know how you'd be reinstalling it from a source other than wherever he got it. Oh, okay. Well, maybe this is related to when I was talking about he might have got it from some other source. And we don't want to install it from some other source. We want it from zoom.us, provided you are in the US, which Chris is. We are assuming it's a legitimate program and not something devious. My guess is it is the legitimate program. There's something else causing trouble. Chris here confirms it here. I downloaded from the Zoom website. They both still get installer has stopped working. How about installing other programs? If it's a problem with your Windows installer generically, then you might have trouble with installing some other program. You could, for instance...
Chris Garrett said it was Zoom, South Alabama's.
Whispered in that soft, sexy voice for Chris. It was Zoom South Alabama. Now, see there, Chris. I'm gonna have to assume that you're kidding about that, but of course, that's all right. I downloaded from the Zoom website. Tried both. Still get installer has stopped working. Yeah. So try uninstall Adobe Acrobat Reader, for instance, and then go reinstall it. And doesn't troubleshooters have Windows troubleshooters have a troubleshooter for troubleshooting installer? I think other troubleshooters, recommended troubleshooters, automatically. Does this have a troubleshooter specifically for installer? Other program compatibility, primary resources. Somebody's probably already answered that. No. Oh, privacy resources, not primary. Duh. The real question is, can you install this again and kind of overwrite everything? Just an idea. Zoom homey thing, exclamation mark S. I don't know what he's expecting to do with S. South Alabama must be a Zoom homey thing. Doug, can we discuss your thoughts and knowledge on the subject of how Windows uninstalls a program? Does it use an uninstaller that accompanies the install program? Yeah.
Ken Stout Lev said touch typing failure.
Touch typing failure. Got it. If I bring up, let's just go exploring here. I don't have any particular destination in mind, but I'm going to go into program files and look for, well, let's go randomly to what? I think any of these will work, but in the program file, see, here's uninstall.exe. Programs that are responsible, and I'm not sure.
Martin Hogg said, all of them still Groot.
They all have an uninstall capability in their program file, and Windows tries first to use the uninstaller in the that came with the program. Beyond that, if there is no uninstaller in that location, how does Windows uninstall the program? I'm not sure that I know anything beyond that. I know nothing. People saying hellos to each other. Zavid to Chris, how to uninstall Zoom using Intune. Can easily uninstall all versions of Zoom from the user's devices using Intune, following the instructions provided in this blog post. I have provided two options for removing Zoom app. First one using PowerShell script, second one using Clean Zoom. Clean Zoom is contained within a zip file. By extracting the contents of the zip file, you'll find Clean Zoom exe. Well, that sounds like it's probably a lot more thorough than, basic uninstall or even Revo uninstaller, because Revo uninstaller has its ways of
Jim KJ3N said suddenly he's Sergeant Schultz.
And then Revo uninstaller is taking care of a whole mass of programs. This looks like something that is specifically written for getting all the elements of Zoom cleaned out. My initial gut reaction to this is this would be a really good way to go. Then if you still have problems, I think you're having problems with your Windows installer. And confirming that by installing something else might be a way to go. And then fixing that. These AI voices are a lot louder than the regular audio. You can, of course, Doug, as a last resort, try to uninstall the program, just delete all the program files that you can find. Well, I don't consider that a last resort. I think Revo uninstaller is going to be far more thorough than what you can do. I have gone through registries. Hang on a moment. I have gone through the registries searching for specific folder names and program names to manually remove everything from the registry for a program. It has taken a massively long amount of time to do that. And then it can be very elusive as to whether you've really accomplished it, because they'll have registry entries that don't make any reference to the program itself. So deleting the program files, there's can be a lot more there, because when you reinstall the program, it's looking in all these different locations to find other resources or configuration information. So just deleting the program files is not very thorough at all. Sorry to disagree with you. I do not consider that a last resort. All good here in Mississippi. Now for us, crazy nitpicky, the only thing that gets left with that method is the files in the registry. No, there's other files. There can be files in the app data folder. It's a subfolder of the user folder. And there can be other places within System32. There can be DLL files that are picked here and there. So no, I'd say there's still more in just the registry, but that's truly unimportant. Registry files can have nothing to access them because dead files in the registry, and they may not be dead though. And what, after all these years since XP, who cares? Sergeant Schultz, dead files in registry is nothing more than dead files in the registry, though there are programs that can clean them up. The trouble would be registry entries that are not dead. They're dead as long as the program's not present using it. But when you reinstall the program, now it's trying to use those registry entries again. And if those registry entries aren't pointing to valid content, you got a problem. Over the years, many people changed their opinion on dead files in registry. That has resolved that they are just dead files. They are unimportant. They only take up a few bits of precious hard drive space. Precious is not something in hard drive space we concern ourselves with these days. I think a lot of that stuff about cleaning up registries, it's a significant way for the utility programs to justify their existence and convince people that this is important and useful. I'm not a big fan of using utilities to clean up registry entries. Now, on a computer that has been used over many years, things have been installed, uninstalled, installed, uninstalled, and you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That may be more of a significance there, but that type of person is maybe going to be more interested in doing a full wipe and reload. Wintermute, more info on Clean Zoom uninstaller here. I'm really liking this Clean Zoom uninstaller. And this one is information from Zoom.com. Mass deployed with pre-configured settings for Windows. Let's see, I probably ought to go right back to that. Was he pointing to his particular place in this? Yeah, he was. Uninstall switches. Okay, so these are uninstall switches to Remove Zoom but leaves the Outlook plugin installed. Excuse me, removes Zoom but leaves the Link Skype for Business plugin installed. Yeah, Zoom has all these attachments into interactions with other software on your computer. If Chris had used any of those, that might be a complication if there's something about those other programs. Long Dog, yes, all those other hidden files you're talking about, they become unimportant. Here's another link from Zvi.
John Williams said, what happened to the little Dougs?
The little Dougs I turned off when I was having all those troubles with Big Beast Build crashing. I turned them off to simplify and reduce the environment. And as far as bringing them back, I have some other ideas in my mind that maybe might come back in a different way. But that's what happened to them. Okay, so here what we got. This was from Zvi. Windows app start now. Oh, Revo uninstaller. So if you just select the Zoom app program from here and on the uninstaller, you're not getting the app. So click on this Windows apps to get the list of Windows apps that you can uninstall. That's very useful. Thank you, Zvi. Lundog, and when I say program files, I'm talking about the files in the programs folder. Just delete those. Everything else becomes dead files. Yeah, but the problem is when you reinstall, those other files are no longer dead. They are going to be responding to the program. It's not dead, it's resting. Pining for the fjords. I think there's a cultural reference there that I don't recognize. Fjords, I'm thinking of it's some kind of small river or stream or something. I don't think it's a rock band. I don't know what fjords is in this context. Zvi, Revo use PowerShell command to uninstall Windows apps. So, okay, so when you use Revo uninstaller for the Windows apps, it's going to be using PowerShell commands. That's what I'm understanding that. Revo uses PowerShell commands to uninstall Windows apps, I think is what he's saying. Yes, you just said it, Doug. These programs justify their existence. CCleaner is one of them from the old days. Yep. More, Greg, good morning. Doug just got up, having first cup of coffee. It's 42 degrees here in southern Maryland. Now, I just had a cup of hot tea. Am I going to follow that up with a cup of coffee? I might. Ken to John, they are on my stream now. Check it out tonight. Oh, by the way, I have a redirect to Kerry Holzman today. He's got a show scheduled. I think it's, nope, it's not that one. Thought I brought it up here to have it ready. Maybe I maneuvered to something else. But anyway, Kerry has a show at his usual start time. Move Speed RX20 external SSD review and unboxing December 20th at 12 p.m. Pacific. Oh yeah, 12 p.m. Pacific time. That is my time. Yeah. And he's done a good thing here. He's just using PT instead of PST because that just means Pacific time. Whether we're in daylight savings time or not, PT will always work. I like that. Did I miss something and we didn't get into specifics of how our program is uninstalled from Windows? No, well, I said as much as I know. I know that when you uninstall from Windows using programs and features, is that Windows will start out with the uninstall app that's in the program.
Can Stout Live said PT? Are we in training?
Physical training. There you go. When you when you go to uninstall here, if that uninstaller is missing from the program, you'll get a message from Windows telling you that. But then it will go on and continue and try to uninstall without that present. And what exactly how it's doing it, what it's doing, I do not know. As you know, Windows does not specifically track and uninstall a program. The person designing the install program provides the uninstall routine. That's right. Now, here's the thing is if you find that you have a history of needing Revo uninstaller, or I think there's some others, but if you actually install them and have them running in the background, When you install a new program, Revo Uninstaller will watch that and it will take notes, as I understand. It will take notes and pay attention to what happens when the installation happens, and it is then better capable of uninstalling that program later if you need it to. That's my understanding. I would like for someone else to say they agree or disagree with that. Be specific. I agree. Revo Uninstaller will watch the installation, something like that. Or disagree. That's my understanding of something that it does. If you've actually installed it and leave it installed when you, and it's present when you're installing other programs. Brian, Doug is working on little Lady Gagas to replace the little Dougs. Yeah, in my not generally speaking correct. Good change. The man does not know his Monty Python. Sacrilege. No, I never got into Monty Python. So that's what Pining for the Fjords was. Never got into Monty Python. Not my cup of tea. Yeah, right. Ken to John, no problem, so to speak. Well, other than I can't type, how are you? Are we in training? What you talking about, Willis? Family Ties? Was that the name of the show? And had Willis? I don't know. Wasn't he on a couple different shows, sitcoms? In Madison, it's great in Madison today. We had no snow, and I like that. It's going to be 40s or 50s. I like it that way. Different strokes. All right, yes, different strokes. Whether I agree with your analysis on how Revo Uninstaller works, if it is actively watching the install, how it works. Londog, agree with you. Also, the subject of the criteria for programmers to use when they create uninstaller, basically, is the Wild West. Yeah, I think that I don't think there's much requirements or criteria from Microsoft to program manufacturers, because it's the Wild West. People can make programs and they don't have to go through an approval process with Microsoft, versus the Apple world where they do have to do that. There are no specific rules other than a person's reputation for when they install, and they don't. Whoever creates the uninstall features within a software company, they're not the top dogs, right? They don't have tons of money thrown to their department, because that's not going to help sell the program. Can you think of any software manufacturer, when they're advertising their program, they hold out right there big and bold, our program uninstalls really, really well. We clean up after ourselves. Therefore, you should buy our program. Yeah, that's not a thing. Different strokes. Many programs will create an install log file, but how well will they use that when they actually perform the uninstall? Their program, they have free reign to decide what they're going to uninstall in the trash they leave behind. Okay, let's call that a wrap, shall we? Done deal. Over with. Sayonara. Signing out. Is there anything I need to say at the end here? I don't think so. I guess I have to say goodbye. Yep. Doug has an owie. Little tiny cut. And I find if I don't cover them up, this is duct tape of some sort. Strapping tape, I don't know. Never did bleed. Didn't even know it was cut until a day or two later, and it's one of like little paper cuts that just the skin starts tearing open more and more. Can any of you feel this? As I'm describing how it's a little tiny cut, if you don't cover it somehow, it just starts tearing a little more, and it really, really hurts. It's really distracting. Click the button, Doug. Get out of here.